topic amazing power, I really do believe would like within the next 30 minutes to convince you that my topic and title of this lecture is really true. You have seen this. So 10 quadrillion operations per second, and you don't know it, your brain is producing. And brain structure for centuries, both structure and function, are immensely intriguing people for ages. Nowadays, brain research accounts for up to 16% of all scientific publications in the world. 16% only brain. And there are many researchers in this field. As a comparison, an average computer can hold 250,000 pictures, 20,000 songs, among them lovely Turkish music, hundreds of movies on something the size of my finger. We live in a tremendous era of sophistication and technology, and that's each part of our life. That's why World Health Organization proclaimed 21st century as the century of the mind, and the recent published report of annual cost for brain disorders accounts for more than 35% overall cost for healthcare system of European Union. A lot. So you might say, what is my own role? What I, as an individual, as an excellent doctor, can do to this terrible problem, complex problem? One word doesn't mean anything, most of us do. However, look at this state. One word gave Oliver Cromwell control of England, caused Charles I of England to be executed, gave America the English language instead of German, changed France from monarchy to republic. Furthermore, conferred statehood on California, Oregon, Washington, and Texas, and elected Adolf Hitler to leadership of the Nazi Party and born John Kennedy. So you should give your even modest contribution to this complex problem of fetal brain, because power of brain is most impressive, and one of the largest, most sophisticated supercomputers takes 40 minutes to calculate single second of human brain activities. Most significant development is the fetal period, and with a rate of 250 neurons per minute, neocortex is intensively under construction, but 99% created during the fetal period of life. That's why fetal period became very important. Fetal includes neonatal, because we speak about the same person in two different parts of their lives. This is the first pioneering study group which met in Barcelona, and you can recognize many of the people there. Unfortunately, half of them are not among us. They passed away, and prime time is time where we are living now. Excellent window for optimization for brain development. But brain develops rapidly. It's most changeable fetal organ, and correlation to motor and sensory system development essential for determining how environmental effects can affect certain structures as well as function. So brain develops structure and function in parallel. So maturation, very complex dynamic process influenced by intrinsic, extrinsic, however, degree of contribution of each is still unclear and is subject of studies. So we can, for students, visualize many parts, and anyone of you entering this field must really study all of these cerebral hemispheres and see even small structure inside. Of course, this is too late, but you should really know what you can look for. Cerebellum, vermis, primary fissure, posterolateral fissure. I'm showing you everything on pathoanatomical models, which is now detectable by 3D sonography. And corpus callosum easily detected with rostrum and with sternum and the body and stenium. So additional help in corpus callosum, in particular study of absent corpus callosum, is vascularization. You can see brain vascularization by 3D. Over Doppler, you can see arteria pericallosa. However, if there is no corpus callosum, there is no arteria pericallosa. You cannot visualize because absent corpus callosum here. My group found that this is much easier, much more simple method to detect absent corpus callosum with absent of arteria pericallosa and knowing the structure of corpus callosum. Ventricles are the bridge between ventricular corpus callosum. You know that we have 4 ventricles, the third, the aqueduct, we have the 4th one, and all of them can be directly studied in both structure and function. Cerebellum, also important, but inside cerebellum we have primary fascia, posterior fascia, and so on. Coming to function, dendrites, tiny building blocks make up foundation of our thoughts. So we are moving to function. Cerebral cortex probably consists of somewhere between 10 and 50 million such cells, and each one is different, and each one has its own function. Thousands of individually formed extensions branch out from their bodies like trees, and dendrites receive electrical signals of other neurons. There is a lot to be learned about that. But scientists defined zones of thinking, dividing them in human cerebral cortex in zones according to function. 4 major are frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. So all of them easily detectable. However, it remains unclear how billions of synapses produce thought, how the close communication of neurons produces the power of mind trying to understand universe. Nobody has yet managed to figure out how our thought process happens, how our brain calculates things and analyzes, how it remembers the past, or images the future. That is called intelligence. There are now already pioneering papers telling that intelligence origin in utero. And to study intelligence and its origin, you really have to know how intelligence moves and connects. Engaging in sports, for example, in younger days increases intelligence. A team of scientists examined more than 1 million Swedish soldiers. Subjects which were in better physical shape had better result in intelligence test. Brain of the person which moves probably reconnects more in order to orient. Furthermore, on average, first-born children have index intelligence several points higher than the younger, probably by the fact that older children help their younger siblings overcome numerous situations. As young girl, 65 years old, Marilyn Fossman had the highest IQ ever recorded, 228 points, the highest. However, scientists believe that values above 150 are pointless. Other objects that the test measured more our adaptation to the contemporary world than our intelligence. Individuals who daily exercise with dancing or playing music have a lesser incidence of dementia. Intelligent people in general live longer than average. So is there a limit to human intelligence? Evolution has made our brains so capable that some of us are able to comprehend the most complex ideas, like the physicist Abhay Ashtekar, who comprehends quantum gravity, very complicated problem. But let's come to the point. What is history, definition, and concept of fetal behavior? I repeat some of the thoughts because this is very, very important. First of all, What is fetal behavior? There are many definitions. If I took linguistic definition, in English it is the way in which someone or something behaves. And that can be acceptable by some of you. Scientific, however, definition said that fetal behavior can be defined as any observable action or reaction to an external stimuli by the fetus. Or, a bit simpler, behavior is the interaction of an organism with its environment. This is probably practically a good one. So, there are three ways to study fetal behavior. Passive observation of activity, recording reaction of fetus to a stimulus, and by fetal habituation. Hand-to-head movement we published a long time ago, 17 years ago, hand-to-head mount face, all of them detectable and are part of our scoring system now. On the face is, as I said, mirror of the brain, predictor of the brain. It is reservoir of many important neurological parameters. Freud said on the face there are 17 face muscles. If you are lucky and happy, you'll be using 4 muscles. If you are grimacing, if you are angry, you have to use 17 muscles. So message is, why make so many muscles busy? Don't worry, be happy. So on the face we have yawning, swallowing, sucking, smiling, tongue expulsion, mounting, and so on. All of them described in literature, all of them part of our kind system. So what is fetal habituation? Is decrease leading to cessation of behavioral response that occurs when an initially novel stimulus is repeatedly presenting. So learning, there is fetal habituation. Japanese group published virtual vibration stimulation, and habituation is widely accepted as a basic expression of fetal learning, memory, addiction, abilities, temperament, and ethic. So all these 6 parameters, 6 topics, can and are now already studied to understand the process of habituation. We have fast and we have slow habituation. There is a good evidence that normal habituation pattern reflects an intact and fully functioning central nervous system. So it does study of habituation tell us about functioning CNS. Why all this is important? Because if behavior is product of functioning CNS, ultrasound evaluation of fetal behavior with 4D method will help us to prenatally diagnose abnormal behavior patterns and possible diagnosis of fetal brain function and dysfunction. So if you look at the baby at 28 weeks, unborn baby, you see what is said in all textbook in our secondary grammar school or even at the university, that unborn baby doesn't listen, doesn't watch. Both of them are wrong. Noise in utero is 70 decibel, as strong as busy Istanbul street. And baby starts eyelids opening as early as 24, 26 weeks of gestation. And we now know which parts of brain are responsible for movements. Ladies and gentlemen, it's take-home message. To research is to see what others have already seen, but to think what others haven't thought. So, science is discovering something new. In science, there is no good and bad work. Scientific results are called scientific discoveries. They immediately go to knowledge. So, science is the process of discovering new, and knowledge is increasing every day by scientific discoveries. I am very keen in fine art, and I have, you can see behind me in my study room, many valuable paintings. It's very interesting. The big artists like old Spanish masters, Murillo, Velázquez, Picasso and the others, used the face to express feeling, character, to visualize, memories, emotions. So face stimulated big artists to do this. We are somewhat artists with 3D, 4D ultrasound, because again, largely neglected organ for us in ultrasound work, face was neglected for a long time. Now face is subject to great intensive research because every day we discover something new. So obviously medicine is science and art. Medicine combines science and art. If you look at this combined picture, we have beautiful artistic pictures of famous painters, and we have somewhat artistic pictures of unborn baby. We are producing such a nice photo that not a long time in advance we will be able to produce passport photo from antenatal period, entering Turkey without visa. My friend and your colleague, Professor Milan Stanojevic, who is working with me for last 30 years, said, Professor, I'm going to watch your antenatally examined fetuses and their behavior. I will put when they will be born in intensive care room, video camera, and I will see how they do behave. Trying to answer, is there continuity between fetal and neonatal behavior? I will show you lovely examples from these already published studies. So, you will not do static sonography, most of you, but you should know that visualization like this one, with 5 fingers and adducted thumb, just this, will give you 95% probability that that baby is neurologically normal. Baby with cerebral palsy will not show thumb. Thumb will be covered by the fingers. Next parameter is yawning. Even adult physiologists do not know why yawning exists. Is it a sign of sadness, of tiredness, of happiness? Nobody knows. But whatever pathophysiology is behind, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, no one of you in the conference hall at your home do exhibit this parameter. Not yet. Thank you. So, there are many reasons to be unhappy in utero. 150 diseases affect fetus in utero. So baby has right for grimacing, but baby watch. So you see this lovely baby, and fetal vision we know is the last sense to develop. But very premature infant, you know that better than me, can see light and shape. Does the fetus have the same ability? Japanese scientists have been reporting distinct fetal reaction to flashes of light shined on the mother's baby. But may I ask you, going home and think about, does this baby like to communicate? Is there any message baby like to send to us? Is this baby at all aware of its existence? So fetal awareness is a new good topic, studying cognitive function of the brain. Does the baby smile in utero? This happy boy from Zagreb. Now we can really visualize smiling in utero. To visualize, however, doesn't mean to understand. We are still working hard to understand other emotional stimulants. What is it? It's not just a reflex. Does the baby cry in utero? You know, the Chinese still believe that they are 9 months older than we. they add to chronological age antenatal period. Watching all of these fetal activities, I think Chinese are right. Life starts much earlier than we used to believe. If you find this baby with fixed position of the hand, all other parameters have been perfectly normal. Normal size, normal gestation age estimated. Everything was perfectly normal. But baby at each examination had fixed position of the hand. So 32 weeks, anencephalic baby, no movement at all, mumia. However, if you look at the same baby at 19, 20 weeks, you will see very dynamic, chaotic movements. So we learned the lesson that there are two centers for fetal movement, upper and lower. So when the lower one is active at 14 weeks, we will have hypertonic movements, high amplitude, high speed in utero. But the same baby at 30 weeks, one of the patients in Pakistan for religious reasons didn't like the pregnancy, there are no movement because there is no upper center for movement in an anencephalic baby. So that was a little bit nice contribution to ever-growing encyclopedia of knowledge, to understand the presence of upper and lower limit of anencephalic baby, mid limits for movements. In all our 11 cases of cerebral palsy, we found adducted thumb. So thumb covered by the fingers, and whatever you do, you cannot, that baby had a bilateral hydrocephaly, you cannot visualize thumb. And thumb is not adducted, we call it neurological thumb, present in all cases of cerebral palsy. Therefore, wherever you screen for neurological problems, do study fingers and show them with adducted thumb. Study of Professor Stanojevic, you see the baby in grimacing. You see how lovely picture, similarity between antenatal and postnatal. As I said, passport photo can be obtained one day from picture. So you see grimacing of the baby in utero, and you will see that the same grimacing this baby will exhibit, in neonatal intensive care unit. This baby was already shown to you, smiling baby, and the same happened in neonatal period. Sorry, some technical problems. Always, this is my advice to all doing obstetric ultrasound, normal finger movement. But to finish this, Milan Stanojevic confirmed that there is continuity between fetal and neonatal behavior. All the facial expressions, all behavioral patterns we found in antenatally with ultrasound in fetuses have been repeated in neonatal period. So we speak really about the same person in two different parts of their life. So this is normal finger movement. If you can visualize it, so much the better. Or independent movement between two fingers. Picture upper, look. If you see 5 fingers and independent movement between 2 fingers, you can be 99% sure that this baby has no neurological problem, at least not serious, not cerebral palsy. So, another parameters are face, facial expression, and isolated leg movements. So you see how for this sonography improved, not only you can visualize beautifully all anatomical components, but you can see movements, whether on face, mounting, fingers, sucking, yawning, crying, smiling, and isolated leg movement. Combination of the tongue exposure, not the boy from Zagreb. So you can combine facial expression, most important, with isolated motoric on the leg and on the arm. So That was the first test that aimed to evaluate in structured and systematic way functional and structural development. And this is, in summing up, funny test. We produced 3-point scale systems, 0, 1, 2, 3, and studied isolated head, interpretation, ranking, and all of these parameters which I showed you, or at the periphery, isolated leg movement, isolated head movement, finger movements. Any one of you who are a little bit familiar with ultrasound, in 1 week can learn this test. And ladies and gentlemen, future belongs to those who are planning it. They deserve future.
Can you come forward, please? As you all know, I think all of you know, Austin has had some setbacks. Could I ask you all to stand? I want to give him a standing ovation. And Rosetta's going to record this. Rosetta's going to record this, and we're going to send it to him. And I'm sure Austin will appreciate it.